what a lad. Well, today I'm lucky enough to be joined by a man many didn't think I'd be able to get on here, but here I am, very proud to have one of the greats on. He's someone who's taken a very different pathway to the top than most. No New Zealand age groups. He's gone from playing country club rugby to becoming one of the best tight head props in the world during his time with Canterbury, the Crusaders and the All Blacks. He's also someone who's always says it how it is, and he's, of course, an absolute lad. It is the great Joe Moody. Welcome, mate.
Thanks very much for having me on, man. Maybe you should have done your homework a little bit better before you got me on, because I'm actually a loose head prop.
Oh, no, Piggy's going to be filthy. Oh, you can play both sides, though, surely. Hey?
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
Have you not played any tight head?
I've played tight head.
Yeah, I knew it.
In my earlier days. Oh, yeah, close enough, yeah.
No, true, loose head prop. I did know that, to be fair. I don't know why I've put tight head, but yeah, Piggy's going to be filthy at me for that, because I love my props. I love my right shoulder down. I love my messages that I get given to pass on to you guys. So, yeah, disappointing start, but stoked to have you on. Like I said, not many guys thought I'd be able to get you on. You usually dodge this stuff, but somehow I've managed to rope you in here, and grateful to have you on because you've got such a cool, unique story, like different pathway to most to the top.
Thanks for having me again, man. And yeah, as you said, I don't generally like doing these sorts of things, but yeah, I figured this is a pretty good platform to just have a pretty low-key and sort of casual yarn about things, and yeah.
Yeah, well, mate, your career's been, you must look back at your career from where you were, especially when you first started. I know you're a late bloomer, but to what you've been able to achieve, winning Rugby World Cups, won about 7 Super Rugby titles, you must look back on your career and be pretty proud of what you've done.
Yeah, looking back on things, there's not too many regrets in there.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of great achievements through NPC titles, through country rugby titles, Super Rugby titles, yeah, World Cup. So it's ticked a lot of boxes as far as that goes. So yeah, pretty happy with how things have gone.
Yeah, not finished yet though.
Exactly. There's still more to come.
Yeah, hopefully another one this year. But let's get to the start for you growing up. Where did you grow up? Somewhere in Christchurch, weren't you?
Just out of Christchurch in North Canterbury.
Yeah.
Sort of in between Woodend and Kaipoi, just on a wee farm there. Spent a lot of time over in Tuahiwi. That's where I went to school. That's where all my cousins and everything were. So from school and sort of spending a lot of time with my grandmother, my tawa over there, and playing around out on the marae to on the other side of things on back at home, just parking up in the tractor with Dad. So
yeah,
had a pretty good sort of upbringing as a country kid, and yeah.
Yeah, I reckon a lot of people would see you as, you know, your classic Canterbury farmer type upbringing, but you've got a significant Māori side in your upbringing, don't you? You spent, like you said, a lot of time at the marae with your grandma and the rest of the cousins and stuff. So that was a big part of your upbringing, wasn't it?
Yeah, 100%. From most days after school, I'd be, my toa lived just across the road from the school, so I'd be over there waiting for, mum or dad to come pick me up, and spending a lot of time across the other side of the road at the marae and everything. So I was definitely a little pa boy growing up, and then again, just the rest of the time I guess was spent with Dad out on the tractor on the farm and bits and pieces like that. So yeah.
And 3 older sisters, is it? No brothers?
No brothers. Just the 3 older sisters who, for the most part, were pretty good to me, but also got picked on a little bit by them. And there's a couple of incriminating photos floating around of being dolled up, and there might be a couple of dresses and whatnot there. But
because most people obviously come on here and they talk about the time they spent in the backyard with their brother and all that sort of helped them get to where they got to. But you obviously weren't outside playing one-on-one footy with them. You're dressing up and playing dolls with them.
I don't know if it was quite like that for the whole growing up sort of period, but there was a little bit of it, mixed in. So yeah,
I'd love to get my hands on some of those photos.
If you actually talk to any of them, I'm sure they'd be keen.
More than happy. Yeah. Throw you under the bus. But did you play, when you went over to the marae, is that where you sort of played, or was sport a big part of your upbringing?
Sport was a huge part of the upbringing. It wasn't so much the sports and stuff over at the marae, and that was just kids being kids,
Yeah.
playing in the bush, and we had little dirt bike tracks and
Oh,
stuff
yeah,
out the
yeah.
back and whatever. But I've tried my hand at pretty much every sport we could growing up. So played a little bit of cricket, a little bit of touch, rugby league actually was. I started as a league. I didn't really transfer over to rugby until high school sort of period.
Oh, true. That late.
Literally just had a crack at everything growing up. So, yeah.
And wrestling. How did you get into wrestling? Because we all know you're a junior world champ at wrestling or something.
Yeah. I think that sort of started as I think I was about 7, and I was a little bit of a naughty kid at school, and
What sort of stuff were you doing?
just a bit of extra energy,
Oh,
playing up and having a few rumbles with other kids and
Oh,
whatnot.
yeah,
So
yeah.
got taken to the local wrestling club, and at first I think it was just an extra outlet to sort of try and drain the juice a bit, and but ended up loving it, so stuck with it until I was about 21. I think was when I sort of finished up with the wrestling and just started fully concentrating on rugby. But between that period from 7 to 21, I went to a heap of tournaments, and wrestling actually took me a wee way around the world with different bits and pieces and tournaments around the place. So, it was a
Were you
great
good at
sport.
that as soon as you started, or like how did that progress?
I don't know that I was particularly good at it when I started, but just enjoyed it, I
Yeah.
guess. And then, through a bit of dedication and, hard work and training and stuff, and the enjoyment of it all, just started becoming better and better sort of thing. And by the time I was at high school, I was, relatively good. So, yeah.
Was it ever a career path for you? Did you ever want to go down the wrestling route?
It was kind of an option for a while.
Yeah.
Like when I was coming to the end of high school, I had a couple of opportunities where I could have gone to Canada or the States for university scholarships and that to carry on with the wrestling journey. But at that time in my life, I wasn't real keen on doing that. So, that's kind of part of why I decided to sort of give it away and start pursuing the rugby path.
Yeah, what kept you here? What was it? Was it something? Was it about rugby? Was it the individual sport? What was it that made you turn that down?
I guess part of it was just really that I'm a big homie, just love being in Canterbury, I guess, and that's where my family is, and that's where my friends are and everything. So it's just I just wanted to. I didn't really want to leave all that behind at that time, and I guess that's part of what's kept me here in the red and black as well. Just this is home. So
don't want to leave. Fair enough. And you're wrestling. You did go around the world. Like you won Oceania titles, didn't you?
Yeah, won a few Oceania titles and both Greco and freestyle. Both in junior and senior as well.
So what's senior? What age is that?
So junior is 17 to 21.
Yeah.
And then, senior's just,
21 to any.
Basically just open grade.
So you won that?
Yeah.
Jeez. At 21 you must have been.
No, I think I won my first Oceania senior title when I was still in the juniors. I was 17.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Mate, you must have been good then. And then did you go to a world title?
I did go to the junior world champs, but it was a knockout tournament, and I got cleaned up by this Indian fella who ended up getting, I think he was third. So, so I ended up getting 15th on the points I scored on him, sort of thing. So that's how they.
And was he your first matchup?
He was the first matchup. Went over to China for the junior world champs. Got him in my first match. Scored a few points on him, but he won. So that was me done and dusted.
Oh, sure.
One and done. Yeah.
And how does that work? Did you know he was a good wrestler, the Indian guy, or you're pretty confident going into it? Do you do your research at that sort of stuff?
At that point in time, there wasn't really anything of, footage and stuff that you could sort of go back and watch. So I was going in pretty blind on things. Just the fact that he was Indian, I knew that he would have been pretty good because India is
good wrestling.
Yeah, pretty strong country for wrestling. And then I think he came third. I know Ukrainian guy won it, and I can't remember where the guy was that came second. But
Oh, yeah.
yeah, if he'd made it into the finals, I would have had a repechage match and, would have got my rankings up a bit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He lost to one of those guys. Oh,
is what it is. So, yeah.
So then your decision to move into rugby, you didn't want to leave, so you probably couldn't progress much in your wrestling here in New Zealand. Rugby seemed just the normal choice, was it?
Kind of like growing up and everything. My dream when I was a kid was I wanted to play for the Kiwis.
Oh, yeah.
And then once I sort of transferred over to rugby, that changed from the Kiwis to the All Blacks. And then I guess even through high school, it was, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, whether I was going to chase the wrestling or rugby or something, but I knew I wanted to be in sports still.
Yeah.
And then, when it came to that decision time, I just felt like the rugby side of things was the better option for me to try chasing, even though I hadn't, I didn't have a foot in the door as such with, I never made any of those New Zealand secondary schools or anything like that at high school.
What school did you go to?
I was at Christ College.
Oh, Christ College.
Yeah.
And you're playing first 15 for them.
Yep. I'd played 2 years first 15 at Christ.
Did you make the Crusaders region schools team?
Nah, didn't make Southern Regions or anything like that. So, like I was saying, I didn't make any of the representative sides when I was at school.
What'd you go like at league?
I probably thought I was all right.
What position were you?
Back in those days, I was a bit leaner and meaner, so I played a little bit in the centres and back row.
Oh,
second
true.
row. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, played a bit of everything.
Yeah, so then when you moved to Union, was it straight into the front row?
No, when I first came into rugby, I was playing number 8. I played a little bit of hooker, actually. I played a little bit of prop, but, I was mainly number 8, I guess.
And when did you make the full commitment to prop? Because I think everyone wants to be a loose forward. When did you make the dreaded decision? Even you, I could imagine. You don't really love being in there, do you?
I do now, but I didn't at the time. It all sort of came about, to be honest. Matt Sexton, he was he was a big one for, I guess, my career path and starting me off, because he was the academy manager at the time, and he'd come and seen me at club footy and everything, and he hit me up one day and said, look, we've got a spot for you in the academy, but it's on the condition that you convert from number 8 to prop.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just sort of screwed my face up at him a little bit, and I was like, oh, really? Look, I'll get back to you in a couple of weeks or something, eh?
Yeah.
And gave it a bit of thought, and, I thought, well, shit, rugby's what I want to chase. It's the dream and everything. Let's give it a crack. So got back to him and said, yep, let's do it, sort of thing. And I guess, haven't really looked back since then. Converted over to prop and chipped away through the academy. And from the academy, I was still playing country footy, and I wasn't making it.
How long's this time frame?
This was 3 years, because the spot that he told me was in the academy. It was actually the pre-academy.
Oh, okay.
So I did a year in the pre-academy. I did my 2 years in the academy, and I was playing for Lincoln Country. Still couldn't crack into the Canterbury scene. And then Matt Sexton, the few others had all sort of said to me that, if you want to crack into it and make the next level, you're going to have to play in town to get there, play against the opposition that you're going to be competing against or competing for this spot for. And I said, oh, yeah, rightio. I tried not to as long as I could, but I ended up going to town, went and played for Lincoln Uni, and I still didn't crack into it playing that season in town, so I sort of, snubbed my nose at them and said buggies then, and went back to country footy after that.
True.
So I went back to Lincoln, and then I made it into Canterbury that year from Lincoln Country.
When you went back.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's the start of how everything sort of cranked into high gear for me with professional footy.
How hard was that to learn the craft of a front rower, like going from number 8 to you spoke about, I think it was about 4 years now. Like, when did you feel like you'd sort of got your head around being a front rower, and especially scrum time?
In fairness, I still learn things now.
Yeah.
But in those first few years, it was such a massive learning curve, from basically getting thrown into the front row and just thinking, I've just got to literally hold up a scrum, to learning all the finer intricacies of things and the dark arts, from the difference in scrummaging from club footy to NPC is a huge jump. And then the difference from NPC to Super Rugby is another massive jump. I feel like that was the biggest jump.
True.
From NPC to Super Rugby. And then from Super Rugby to international, there was another jump again, but I don't think it was probably as big as the shock from NPC to Super.
Yeah.
Yeah. So each level that you kept going up, it was, different things, different bits and pieces of, knowledge and whatever that you had to do with technique and everything, different pressures, obviously as you get to the international stage, it's just, big, powerful men, a lot of pressure on you, and everyone knows exactly what they're doing. So, that's obviously, the toughest spot. But
how much of it can people tell you, or how much of it do you have to be in it?
It definitely helps when people can tell you bits and pieces before you get into it, so you can somewhat practice it and try and replicate it before you get into the real scenario. But there's always going to be that certain amount of it that you can't really comprehend until you've actually gotten fully in the mixer with it and done it to experience it.
Yeah. So when you make your debut for Canterbury, are you feeling confident and comfortable at that stage? I suppose you had to wait, so you're probably ready for the opportunity, but you feeling confident?
Yeah, relatively.
Yeah.
I guess I had sort of a false confidence as well, going from club footy and everything to Canterbury, and just because I didn't know, I guess. So I had that little bit of a false confidence, I guess. But you soon get brought down to earth when you come up against some wily old heads, and get taught a couple of lessons.
Who were some of those guys that got you early on that you remember?
I actually remember Chris King was one of them. Ended up playing with Mill, or playing alongside him. But coming up against him, I think he was playing Taranaki. Just you get a few lessons through some wily old tight heads. Namir Tialata, I'd been watching him through the All Blacks and everything, and then coming up against him for Canterbury and Wellington games. It's just, I guess some of the hidings that you get are actually the best teaching tools that you can get as well, So it's all those have sort of developed me into becoming a better prop.
Yeah. Is there any games where you just feel like you can't really match them at scrum time, and you really want to be avoiding them? Especially early on, I'm guessing.
Honestly, I can't quite think of any at Loosehead when I've been there, but as we sort of touched on in the intro, thanks. Did play a little bit at Tighthead.
Yeah, there we go.
And when I got thrown into Tighthead, one of our games was up in Hamilton against the Chiefs, and I think I was on the bench. This was before we had a prop to cover both sides.
To cover both,
you just had one on the bench that had covered both, and that was me at that time. And Owen Franks went off in the blood bin. So I had to come on at tight head, and the Chiefs' loose head was Puliasi Manu.
Oh, yeah.
He was a very good loose head. And I remember it came to scrum time, and I was just popped straight out the sunroof, and I was looking up at the stands like, geez, this is a nice view. So, and I was just every time that anything happened and, that we were going to scrum time, I was like, shit, here we go again.
Oh yeah, it must be an awful feeling. Is that the worst thing? Like getting popped is what's the worst thing for a prop to happen to them?
Yeah, to be fair, I don't think there's too much worse than that. So
Getting popped
yeah,
out the top.
yeah.
Yeah, true.
Up the sunroof, and you're just poking out there. Your head's up there, and the rest of the scrum's down underneath you, and you're just enjoying the view. Yeah.
And then how many years was it from Canterbury to the Crusaders? I know you said that was the biggest jump for you at scrum time. How long was that transition?
So my first year was 2011 with NPC with Canterbury.
Yeah.
And then the following season, I made the wider squad with Crusaders through 2012, but I didn't actually make the full squad or play for Crusaders until 2013.
True. No injuries in prop that year. Jesus, the times have changed.
Yeah, tell me about it.
So when you made your debut at Super Rugby, you were ready this time?
Yep.
You felt ready, the same confidence, but you obviously felt the biggest jump at scrum time.
Yeah. But fortunately, like I'd had that, I guess that period through the wider training squad where I'd been scrummaging against the best. We had, at that point in time at Crusaders, we had the likes of Wyatt Crockett, both the Franks brothers, Ben and Owen.
Yeah.
We had an awesome pack sort of thing. So, getting to sort of do my apprenticeship under those guys, you couldn't ask for much more. So, by the time I actually did debut with Super Rugby, I felt like I'd served a pretty good apprenticeship, and I was not falsely confident this time like I was with NPC, but I was relatively confident. Just through training and everything that I knew I was ready.
Yeah, how important is that for a prop to have other props to scrummage against during the week? Good props.
Honestly, I think it's like you can't really calculate the value of it just because it's invaluable. It's to have another pack to scrum against through the week to prepare you for the weekend. That's really strong. That's just I don't know how to describe it, but it's a gem. Like if you have a shit opposition to practice with against through the week, and then you're coming up against a strong pack on the weekend. You go in undercooked and you're not very well prepared. Whereas, as it happens here, we still have really strong reserves and a strong starting pack, whichever side you're in. So, normally our training scrums and everything that we have here through the week now are generally speaking tougher than what we end up finding in the games. I think that's a real gem that we've got going on here.
Yeah, that's interesting. And you must have felt at times last year when we were 7 props down, you must have been going into a few of those games feeling like you hadn't quite got the prep that you'd normally got.
Yeah, sometimes I guess, but at the same time, at the start of the season when I was still playing, we did.
Sure, you were gone by then.
Yeah, unfortunately, I ended up being one of those 7 props down. So, at the start of the season when I was still playing, we still had a really good both sides. So, it wasn't until later on when I was one of the casualties, I guess, that we might have been struggling and getting a few new faces in and that sort of carry on.
So you've been here with the Crusaders. I mean, I think the first few years you hadn't won a competition, and then the last 7 you have managed to win it.
Yeah.
What was sort of the turning point there? From being inside, what was sort of the difference for you?
A lot changed. I guess it's really hard just to put your finger on one specific thing, but like in those earlier years, we had a great side. We had some great players, but we were still losing the title. We had the Richie McCaws and the Dan Carters, and we were still losing. And then after losing those players and then winning the titles and that, it was, I guess, a little bit of the environment changed. And that's not because those players win or anything. That's not at all what I was trying to say there. I guess with the Scott Robertson takeover, he kind of created a different sort of working environment. We had a lot of fun, whereas things before that had been quite sort of strict and it was a workplace, and you're here to work and you're here to grind, and then he just kind of created a culture where it was fun to come to work, but at the same time you still had to grind and you still had to do the tough stuff, but that just the whole culture, I guess, brought everyone together a bit tighter, and I guess that was part of it, but not not the complete reason why we started winning titles.
Yeah.
Otherwise we'd just be, I don't know, having piss-ups midweek. And
That's crazy though. 7 titles is pretty incredible, and you've been here for all of them. It's been pretty special 7 years being a Crusader.
Yeah, it's been a hell of a time. Especially, it makes it even that little bit more special. The fact that I'd been here before. When we were rather than say when we were losing, but when we weren't winning titles.
Yeah. And any of those that stand out for you? What's been your favourite title?
I think my favourite one has definitely got to be the first one.
Joburg.
The first one over in Johannesburg. They talk about it as no Super Rugby team had ever done that, gone and won away from home. And the fact that it was in Johannesburg, it was huge. Like driving in on the bus and they're banging on the bus.
They love it, eh?
Just screaming at us, "They're gonna kill you," and they're like giving the whole throat slitting gestures and everything to us as we come in on the bus. It was a pretty hostile sort of crowd and everything, but when we won, man, it was just a really sweet feeling,
Did you start that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. What minute did you come off? Because I remember them coming home with a real wet sail.
I think generally speaking, I was around the 60 minute mark.
Yeah. So were you confident you'd done enough? You were always going to win that one? Because you had a pretty big lead for most of it, but then I think they scored a few late tries and got pretty close in the end.
Yeah. No, I think from memory, I was always confident.
Yeah.
Again, we had an awesome team that year. Everything that we did that day, I think, sort of almost came off for us. From setters, bloody 70-odd metre try or whatever, from picking up a loose ball and whatnot. Everything just sort of went our way, and it made for a pretty fun trip home.
Yeah, I've heard about that trip home. Where were you at that? You would have been right up the front, first class.
Well, I think fortunately, all those long hauls, we get to go business class and whatnot. So, yeah.
Still?
Yeah.
Oh, and then you move into the All Blacks. Like you mentioned at the start that it was a goal of yours early on, or basically as soon as you switched over to rugby. How did you find out that you had achieved that goal and become an All Black?
This is interesting one, I guess. I'd been
doing dress up again.
Not quite. I was living with Sam Whitelock at the time, and I'd been out, had a good night out after one of our Crusader games, and I was pretty dusty, so I was in bed real early. I think about, I don't know, 6:30, 7 o'clock. That's how dusty sort of thing I was. And then my phone started going off. I was like, and it was a random number, so I almost didn't answer it, and then I thought, better answer it, see who it is. It was Darren Shan, the All Blacks manager.
Yeah.
Telling me that they wanted me to come into the squad and train with them and that. And I was kind of thinking, is this a prank call? I was trying to make out if this was any of my mates disguising their voice, sort of thing, trying to just get me. And sure enough, it wasn't. So that was my first sort of introduction, or that was my first call or whatever from the ABs. And
so you were getting called into a camp. It wasn't the official announcement, was it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, exactly what you said. Yeah, just called into camp to start training and that with them. And so that was in 2013, my first year of Super Rugby.
Happened quick, eh?
Yeah, and I ended up getting named for the end of year tour that year in 2013, and I was pretty fizzed up for that. But first things first, we had to play the NPC final, Canterbury versus Wellington up at the Cake Tin.
Yeah.
And I think it came to about 55 minutes in. So yeah, that's just about when I'm about to go off for smoko anyway. And I got tackled, and the guy sort of swung around me and landed on my leg funny and snapped my leg and blew out my ankle. So, yeah, I was in hospital getting my X-rays, and they said, yeah, it's definitely buggered and whatnot.
Yes,
and I was supposed to be I was supposed to be flying out the next morning to go to Japan for this for the start of the end of year tour, and that sort of that was that for 2013.
Brutal.
Yeah.
How hard was that for you to take? Because obviously, dream to be an All Black, you've got your opportunity, you're playing in a final, about to come off and snap, absolutely gutted.
Well, it was pretty bittersweet because Canterbury, we won the final.
Yeah.
So got the gold medal for the NPC final. And then at the same time, I was pretty devastated as well that I wasn't going to be getting on the plane the next day heading to Japan. So it was a pretty tough pill to swallow, but at the same time, I knew I was kind of there or thereabouts. So didn't throw a pity party or anything for myself. Tried to enjoy the celebrations with the Canterbury boys for the next couple of days with a throbbing leg that was in cast and everything. But and then as soon as I got out of that cast, I was just trying to keep motivated to keep training and get back in there for 2014, which I did end up debuting and getting amongst it then. So
So it was a case of once you became fit, you were selectable for the All Blacks, and you were selected for the All Blacks again.
Yeah.
Mate, how good. And then what was that debut like?
Again, that was kind of a bittersweet one too. Like I was on cloud nine, like just made my debut for the All Blacks, but we drew with Aussie, and it was the end of the unbeaten 18 in a row run.
Oh, true.
So the boys were all in the sheds, like you could hear a pin drop type setup, and then there's me with a bloody grin from ear to ear. I was just like, just played my first game for the AVs because my family had flown over as well. It was in Sydney.
Oh, yeah.
So they'd come over to watch, and just made a bit of a cameo off the bench. And
how long did you get?
Oh, I can't remember exactly how long. It was somewhat of a cameo. I think it was only maybe 15 minutes or something at the end, but yeah.
How'd you go at the haka? I know you're proud Māori.
The haka was an interesting one because back then when I first made it, we didn't really have any haka practices and that like they do now. It was just kind of I asked a couple of the older guys, what's the go with the haka? Like, do we do a practice or anything like that? And they're like, no, mate, you just need to get on YouTube and watch it. So
really, Scratcher said the same thing when he came on. He had to learn it off YouTube. I can't believe that. As an All Black going to do a haka, you had to learn the haka off YouTube.
Yeah,
was it kamate?
Yeah, it was just kamate then.
Yeah,
but yeah, it was. I just went into my room and had my headphones on and I was just watching it over and over. And so, sweet.
How did you know where to stand, or like how do you know where to go, or do you just get shuffled to wherever?
Back then it was kind of, just shuffle around wherever. But now it's everyone's got spots and got the formation and whatnot. And, they always have a haka practice, whether it be on the captain's run day or one night through the week or whatever.
Yeah.
But, it was definitely an interesting sort of setup. I was almost more nervous about doing the haka than I was the game kind of thing. Like
you would have been.
Didn't want to cock that up, but yeah.
Oh, that's crack up. And did you feel comfortable in the All Black environment? Did you feel confident in it?
I don't know if I'd say I felt confident or comfortable in it when I first came in. I was pretty nervous coming into camp. There's all these like real big dog names and you're just this young fellow. when I first came in, there was the Andrew Hawes and Tony Woodcock, the Richie McCaws, Dan Carters, Ma Nonu, Conrad Smith, all those guys were in there. So, I was just trying to basically keep my head down, don't cock up anything, don't be late to any meetings, and just go hard when it came to whenever I got any opportunities, so.
Yeah. You speak about a lot of those players, and I know most of them are in that 2015 Rugby World Cup squad. You had a different journey to get there. You got there in the end, but talk me through how you got over to the Rugby World Cup.
Yeah, well, I suppose that all started from my 2014 season. So I think I had a relatively good season in 2014, but then given the break that the All Blacks get over the off season, not having to do the team preseason and everything, that was kind of my first time with that and not having to do the preseason with the team. So I had a major slip up there, and I just took it as downtime, holiday time. Like I didn't really train through that off season, so I came into 2015 way out of shape, not in very good nick. Mr. Blackadder, Toddy, was not happy with me at all. So I wasn't getting a lot of game time with Crusaders. Crocky was getting all the time, and I didn't end up getting selected for that initial 2015 World Cup squad. And I had no one to blame for that but myself, because I hadn't put myself in the right state. I wasn't fit. I was overweight and all that. But at the same time, I guess it may have been too little too late, but it kind of cracked the whip on me. And, man, the amount of extras that I was doing to try and get fit at that point, after every single training at Canterbury, I was doing extra running and just, whatever I could, off-feet sessions to try and, trim up, get fit and be ready just in case. It all kind of paid off because, come the quarterfinals of that World Cup, I think Tony Woodcock he'd already gone out injured, but they hadn't brought in a replacement for him. Sorry. Woody got injured, so they brought me in as a replacement. And I was kind of thinking I wasn't going to get any game time or anything because they already had Ben Franks over there as well, who played both. So I just figured, the natural progression was they'd bring him in to the 23, and I'd just be a hit bag holder, just the extra guy. But I flew over there in that quarterfinal week against France, and I was named on the bench. I was like, wow, shit, righto,
straight in there.
Yeah, and then Crocky got injured, hurt his groin, I think it was, in the first 20 minutes of that France game in the quarterfinals. So I was on for 60 minutes for the quarterfinals. I started the next week against South Africa in the semis, and then started in the finals against Australia. So
crazy, eh? What a turnaround! What a year!
Actual. So no, I was pretty happy with how it all turned out, because if I'm really honest with you, getting that call up to the 2015 World Cup, I was almost in two minds about it, because I thought, man, I'm playing really good footy here with Canterbury. I'm having an awesome time, starting consistent game time and all that. And then I'm going to have to go over here, literally not play any games, just be a hit bag holder and, just be that extra guy. This is going to be shit sort of thing, So shit. I landed there, named in the squad to play in the quarterfinal, and then played quarters, semis, and finals. It was just wowee,
Imagine if you turned it down and you saw another guy do that, starting in a World Cup final.
Yeah, I know. That wouldn't have gone down great, would it? But,
When did you know you'd sort of stuffed up in that off season, or at what point did you realise, I've blown out here?
I think it probably wasn't until a couple of weeks out from the season when we were playing preseason games, and I I just kind of thought my fitness and everything was magically going to come, and it didn't. We were playing these preseason games, and I was just absolutely shagged. And I was like, wow, I've not gone good here. Like, yeah, that was a massive learning curve for me.
Yeah.
Because I haven't done it again since.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, got to go through it sometimes to learn, don't you?
Yeah.
But that World Cup side, people still talk about it as potentially the best side ever put on paper, and your name's part of it. It must be pretty crazy, eh?
Yeah. To be fair, I haven't heard too much chat about it, but I guess when you do look at it, like what I sort of mentioned coming into the squad and everything, it does have some real legends of the game in that 2015 squad. So, it'll be a tough one to beat everyone in their prime, sort of thing.
Yeah. What did those guys do well? Those legends that you have spoken about. Like,
I guess they enforced a really good culture on the team. The young guys coming into the squad. Like how I was saying, I just wanted to keep my head down, not cock up, and whatever. Like everyone that came into the squad, whether you're a younger guy in the middle or whatever, the older sort of, we call it the back seat, the back of the bus, they were just no one wanted to cock up because no one wanted to have to deal with, these guys down the back of the bus.
Yeah.
And I think that was really good, having that little bit of a sense of fear almost, within the squad, because in recent times being in the team, without naming names or saying incidents or whatever, there has been a lot of cock-ups that would have never happened, or that did never happen, back in the early days with ABs and that. So I think that's one of the key things that I guess, those older guys did sort of do or have.
Yeah. I guess everyone who came in had so much respect for these guys. The last thing they wanted to do was let them down.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. And then let's fast forward to the 2019 Rugby World Cup. You'd made yourself pretty much a lock in there at loose head prop going into it. So you were confident going into that World Cup you were going to be named and no issues?
I didn't think there was going to be too much issue as far as being named around it and everything went.
Any anxiety around a late injury leading up to it?
In all honesty, even with my shocking run of injuries, I never really have any anxiety around getting injured. You always just go out there and you just want to play and you want to do what you've got to do. So you never really have that. You never have that thought in the back of your mind about getting injured or having an injury and trying to preserve yourself for anything else that's going to come later.
Yeah.
Because if you start doing that or playing like that, you're just going to play shit, and
and you'll get injured.
Yeah, either you'll get injured or you just won't get picked for the next thing because you're playing shit. So
it's very true. So once you got over to Japan, how'd you find it? How was that World Cup? How did it compare?
The Japan World Cup was different in the aspect of it was really hot and it was real sticky. Like I remember I had to get all this the old athlete's foot cream and stuff because I was getting the old fungus growing between the toes and whatnot.
The extra heat.
Yeah, it was so hot when we were training. So your feet were always just like they were always wet because the grass, like the fields we train on, would be wet as well. And then with the heat on top of that, it was just one of the things we had to deal with. But other than that, other than the bit of heat and whatnot, there was a pretty good feeling within the squad. I think we actually played some pretty good footy up until, that dreadful sort of semi-final where we got absolutely rolled by England. But, it was just one of those things, like they played probably one of their best games and we played probably one of our worst games, which is not trying to defend us or ourselves or anything, but that's just kind of the way footy goes sometimes. It's not that we were undercooked or we'd been playing up or anything like that. It was just kind of one of those things, and especially how a World Cup works. So everyone was pretty gutted and down about things after that game. But in all honesty, like no one wants to play off for third and fourth. So having to stay on after we'd lost against England and stay on for that last week to play in the third and fourth playoff, like that whole week was just kind of why are we here,
Yeah.
And it wasn't actually until we were on the bus driving to the game, that third and fourth playoff, it sort of clicked in my head as another one of the tour buses went past us and all the New Zealand fans were out the window with their flags and waving to us and stuff. I was like, wow, this game actually does still mean something to a lot of people. I was like, fuck, I need to pull my head in and flick the switch here. So,
yeah.
And then we ended up playing some really good footy in that third and fourth playoff and rolled Wales and but unfortunately it was a bit too little too late. We should have done it the week before against England. So
how hard is it post a World Cup to, obviously it's a 4-year cycle, how hard is it post World Cup to I guess get back on the horse and get motivated again?
As far as the international stuff goes, for me personally, I've always been kind of one that just almost takes things day by day. So at the end of the World Cup, I wouldn't even think about the international season again. At that point, it'd be like, oh yeah, right. So next job's with Crusaders.
Don't blow out in the off season.
Exactly. Yeah. So it'll be right. So I've got to get my pre-season training program and everything sorted for coming into the next year hot, so that it's not going to take me half the super season to get fit and all the rest of it. So that's always been my mentality around things, but I don't know if other people are different with it or what.
No, it's a good mentality to have. I think it's the right one to have. And then let's go to 2023. This one's probably a little bit more disappointing, but you're playing so well in Super Rugby, you pick up an injury.
Yeah.
And I guess you sort of run out of time to put your hand up. Is that how you saw it?
Yeah, well, basically, this year and missing out on last year, sorry, missing out on the World Cup selection and that for 2023. I've only really got two big regrets throughout my rugby career. The 2023 World Cup, missing out on that's one of them, and the Drawn Line series is the other one.
Yeah,
but honestly, I was so devastated when I got the phone call the night before team naming that they weren't taking me. I couldn't be talked to for a while. I just wanted to be by myself and just sort of simmer and let everything process for a bit. But when I first got injured through the season, I was straight to the doctors and everything and the medical team to start making my plan for rehabbing, and wanted to get all my dates in a line to see when I'd be back and ready to play and all that sort of carry on, just to make sure that I was going to have enough time to make a run for selection, And then as it worked out, I was still going to have enough time to, be ready and get back into it. And then unfortunately, so that was an ankle surgery that I had. And then I was coming back from that and starting back with my running and everything. And then I tweaked my calf, and then that put me back another couple of weeks. So that was kind of almost the straw that broke the camel's back then, because, the way that I was explained everything was, I needed to have some more footy coming into the World Cup, and needed to be match fit and match ready, and they didn't think I was going to be ready for test match footy for those opening pool games. So that's the way they saw it, and I guess at the end of the day, that's all that counts, because that's not quite how I saw things. But
Did you felt like you'd done enough to be on that plane?
So in all honesty, like I did. I thought that my super performances had probably done enough to still get me in the team. And then from there the non-selection, man, it was tough. Like I didn't want to be any sort of negative Nelly or anything,
Yeah.
and be down in the dumps around the Canterbury boys or anything like that. So I was doing my best to try and stay motivated and train well and play well and everything for Canterbury, but it was easier said than done. The reality of it was, I was just so devastated about everything. I basically did mope a bit and washed my hands a little bit of 2023. I trained shit for Canterbury. I played shit for Canterbury. I basically just wrote off the 2023 season, and just couldn't wait for 24 to roll over so we could kick in and start fresh and just I guess rip into the 24 season and I guess prove a point.
It's good honesty. Were you the next guy in line to be called up? I remember you being pulled out of a NPC game. Everyone's like, Joe Moody's on the plane. He's going to be, this is 2015 all over again. You're going to be starting in the final. Yeah. What happened? Well, that's what they told me basically, was that if any props got injured, whatever side it was, that I'd be, straight on the flame. And then I did get pulled out of one of the Canterbury games. What was that? Canterbury versus Auckland, I think it was, here in Canterbury. But at the end of the day, everyone had their theories on things and started rumours and whatnot, and I'd get 1,000 texts. Oh, mate, I heard you're on the plane. And getting all those messages, it didn't help with my headspace either. Like for trying to actually stay motivated and in a good space and everything. But at the same time, I knew people were only just trying to, be pumped for me and that sort of thing, even if they were misinformed and, on the wrong track with things. But I couldn't get angry at anyone for the messages. But at the same time, I was getting a bit pissed off with getting all these messages and whatnot. But yeah. So you were pulled out of that game as a precaution, or you were never actually told you were going over?
Yeah. So the call that I got was from Jace Ryan just saying, look, we've got a couple of issues with two of our props with Karen Niggles. If anything happens to them in this game, you'll be on the next flight coming over.
Yeah.
And then that game, two of the props actually went off with injuries.
That's right.
And I literally didn't hear another word from them. That was it. So
never said that they're good to go.
Never got any. Don't worry, they're good as gold. Never got any. They're buggered. Better pack your bags just in case.
You're just waiting.
It was literally radio silence. That after the phone call that pulled me out of the game and everything. That was literally it. That was the last I heard from anyone in the All Blacks. Coaching and management.
True. So that's interesting, eh?
Yeah.
And if you did go over, did you feel like you're in a good enough headspace where you're ready to perform?
Oh, if I'd been given the tick as far as then went, it wouldn't be hard to flick the switch as far as the mental headspace went then, because again, going into that whole team selection / non-selection, I was in the best shape of my life. My skin folds were primo, my weight, everything, strength, fitness, everything was going good coming through that, coming back from that injury. I'd been so vigilant with everything, my diet, all my training, I'd been going so hard because everything that I was, all my goals, everything that I was looking forward to was basically that World Cup. And I knew that the injury that I'd got, was basically making things harder for me by not being able to have that game time and not being able to have that lead in to World Cup selection. So I was training my ass off. I was so focused, everything that I was doing was literally just working towards getting on that plane. And then, that was like I said before, getting that phone call saying that I wasn't going, it was just like, boom, everything I'd been working for the whole year, or I guess the past 3 years, 4 years, whatever, was basically just all, flushed down the toilet. And on top of that, on top of all the selfish stuff for me as well, like all the comms that I'd had were pretty positive as well. So I told my mum that, don't worry, like I'm in, lock it in. So she had booked all her flights, accommodation, like all this other stuff to go over there as well. So then on top of that, when I got the call saying I wasn't in, I was just like, oh man, it's like, how am I going to tell mum now? I was like, she's spent all this money to go over and follow me over to France and whatnot.
Did she go?
Yeah, she ended up going. She still went to, what did she go to? She went to the quarterfinal and the final. So she got to a couple of the games as well. And just, I think she had a great time, even though I wasn't playing. But I think at the same time, she wouldn't have gone had she known I wasn't going to be going. But
oh, that's funny. And then you spoke about wiping the floor with 2023, and now you're in 2024, and this is what you're looking forward to. So you're in off season now, no blowouts so far. Looking forward to the year ahead.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said earlier, it's just I've got a real point to prove this year. So I've got to just keep working hard, smashing out that fitness and everything. And then just come into the season hot. So just get rid of any naysayers, get rid of that monkey off my back, and just have an awesome 2024.
And you got a good crew of props, I guess, coming through in the Crusaders. You've got Owen coming back, who you've obviously spent a lot of time with throughout the years, but the growth of Tamati and Flecky, how do you think they're going?
Mate, those young fellas are going real good. So that's kind of like what I touched on at the start, having the good packs to prop against. So whether it's the old boys or the young fellas, as long as they're going good, it's it doesn't matter what sort of personnel you chuck in the pack. You've got a good pack. So
So what's motivating you to keep going? Obviously, what are you now? 35. Same age as me. What's motivating you to still keep going?
I'm still chasing that cherry out in front of me, I guess, of the black jersey. So I'm wanting to go out, I guess, basically on top, I suppose. I don't want to be one of those guys that just hangs in there, basically trying to collect a paycheck and play the odd game here and there. I want to be the first pick prop. You're writing out your team sheet and loose head prop. There's not even a second thought. Boom, Joe Moody. So I want to be at the top of my game because I don't know if we're going to get into this on today's chat, but I'd say this will be my last year in New Zealand anyway. Whether or not come the end of this year, I look to maybe do a season or two overseas before I finish things off, or just call it a day at the end of this year. I'll see, but
far out. There we go. It's an announcement.
You heard it here first.
What an exclusive.
But I don't know. We'll see how the season plays out, I guess. But I can't imagine. I'll be back here again next year unless you guys start begging me for
mate. But Dan Perrin will be on his knees after he hears this.
But with the way that we've got this young stock coming through and everything, it's probably time to hand the torch over, sort of thing. And it's not something that I just want to give them for 2025. It's something they'll have to earn and take. But again, it's all about how I want to play some of the best footy I've ever played, sort of thing, come 2024, and really prove a point. So yeah,
mate, I love it. And has there ever been that temptation to go overseas throughout your career? You said that you're a home boy. I'm guessing that's been a big part of you staying, but I'm sure you've had offers from the French and UK, Japanese potentially as well throughout your time.
Yeah, there's been a few opportunities through the middle of my career, and actually right at the start as well.
Oh yeah.
So right from when I was just Crusaders wider training squad, Matt Sexton, who had picked me up through the academy and everything, he got the role as Southern Kings coach over in Australia. South Africa. And he threw a contract at me, because I was only wider training squad with Crusaders, and I was looking at the numbers as far as the dollar figures went, and I was like, wow. And I was thinking on it because I hadn't been given anything from Crusaders at this point. I was still just wider training squad and that. And then next minute, Todd Blackadder came up to me and said, "Hey mate, you got anything sorted as far as contracts and that go for next year?" And I was like, "Oh no, not yet. Why is that?" He's like, "Oh, well, we'd like to offer you a 2-year deal." And I was like, "Oh, here we go." And we hadn't talked about any sort of facts and figures or anything like that. This was just a pretty sort of brief, informal passing conversation on the side of the field here one day. And we shook hands. I was like, "Shit, yeah, we're on." They gave me the contract and that, and I looked at it, and it was like it was the minimum contract for 2 years. And I was looking at my Southern Kings one, and I was like, "Wow, this is like over double, financially."
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh. I thought about it for a bit, and I was like, I guess it's that short-term gain versus what I'd get if I stayed here at Crusaders and did my apprenticeship sort of thing under the Wyatt Crockett's and the Franks boys, So yeah, obviously I made the decision to stay here with Crusaders. But I don't regret that at all now, looking back at how things have worked out and everything. So, I don't know where I'd be.
Imagine, you'd be scrumming down for the box.
I'd say, I'd be. I probably would have had a few more steaks put away if I'd gone on it over there, man. The old Sappers love their meat. So
you'd be in the bomb squad, was it? 40-minute splits.
Yeah.
Oh, crazy! That's sliding doors. So, what are your plans post footy? Have you got much of an idea?
Yeah, post footy, the dream aside from footy and everything, ever since I was a kid, was going farming. So, I went to Lincoln Uni and I did a dip ag out there. So,
did you?
I would say not just a pretty face, but it took me a bit longer to get me old piece of paper than what it should have.
How many years?
2.5.
Oh yeah,
for a 1 year.
Yeah,
diploma.
But juggling pro footy, it's understandable. Or did you fail a fair few? You weren't even juggling.
I wasn't juggling by that stage. That was just. You
are just a pretty face.
Yeah. That was just having a good time and enjoying the uni lifestyle. But so I want to go farming when I finished up with the footy.
Yeah.
And what field of farming, I haven't really decided as yet. Dairy seems to be where you're making the money at, I guess, but it's also a lifestyle choice as well. So, like I say, I don't really know just yet, but probably need to start making some decisions on that sooner rather than later, though.
You got time, mate. You got heaps of time. A few more years here, and then they head overseas. And that's what you look forward to. That you look forward to that lifestyle of being in the farm, and
I could never see myself, working any sort of a office job or anything inside, sort of thing like that. So, I just love being out in the, open air and, being a bit of a diesel jockey, riding, in the tractors and that sort of thing, and buggering around with stock and that sort of carry on. So, it's.
Mate, you'll love it. You'll absolutely love it. But anyway, we've gone to our Instagram for some questions. Plenty came in, a few that I'm pretty keen to know if it's true. This one in particular, Is it true that you wrestled Case Muse as a 14-year-old and beat him? Is there a yarn here?
Case Muse. I'm not sure if I ever wrestled Case Muse. I think that might have been Carl Heyman.
Oh, Carl Heyman.
Yeah.
Did you wrestle him?
Yeah, old Mike Cron would always bring in a few props in that to my old wrestling club from time to time. And I remember he brought in Carl Heyman and Jamie McIntosh.
Oh, true. You would have schooled Whopper pretty quick.
I remember old Whopper, because that was before he had cracked into Super Rugby and everything.
Yeah.
He was only, I think he must have only been 20 odd or something. And I was, I think I was 17 or 18 or something like that. And, no, I might have got the ages wrong there anyway. I might have been a bit younger. But anywho, I just remember old Whopper. He was massive. He was bigger than Carl Heyman.
Yeah, huge human.
But yeah, we had a good wee roll around out on the mats. So, yeah.
You did him. You did over Carl Heyman and Whopper as a 14-year-old.
Whatever age it was. But yeah, they were definitely stronger than me and bigger than me back then. Because when my wrestling days, I was only wrestling in the under 96 kg category.
That's right.
And I think both those guys at that point were roughly around the high 120s. So. They had a few kilos on me and probably could have ragdolled me, I suppose. But just had a bit of technique on my side.
It's key. Okay, but you must have been strong as well, because this one says, tell us about the time you beat New Zealand strongman Levi in a carpool competition when you were 17.
Again, I'm not too sure that it was that Levi. I did
Levi Amua.
Yeah. No, I remember the Mitre 10 man. I don't think it was him, but I did jump in. We were at a car show and I jumped into the strongman competition and beat one of the strongmen at the carpooling comp.
True, at 17 years old.
Yeah.
So you were always naturally really strong. You must have been.
Yeah, I think I was been relatively strong through all my life, yeah.
Yeah, far out. Pull a car and beat a strongman at 17. Did you ever think to go down that route? Strongman competition.
I do love watching a bit of the World's Strongest Man.
I bet.
But I think the part that I most like about all that is just the probably their diets and the calorie intake. The fact they can just eat what they want or try and smash a heap of tucker and just worry about the gym. They don't have to worry about cardio. Just get strong, eh?
Oh, good stuff. Okay, well, someone's asked a lot of physical questions for you as a front rower. They want to know your best Bronco bench, squat, and deadlift. So we'll start with your best Bronco.
I've never been very good in the Bronco department. I think my best, even when I've been really fit, was I think it was 5:09. So I've never cracked the sub 5.
Yeah,
I think it was 5:09 was my best. Yeah,
you must have ran that recently too, didn't you? Because no one was much over that.
I think that was over the lockdown period.
Oh yeah. Oh,
I got really fit over lockdown.
Nothing else to do. Okay, bench.
Bench was 183.
Oh, that's getting heavy. Very heavy.
Yeah.
And squat?
253.
Holy, bending bars. And deadlift?
I've never actually done a single rep of deadlift. I've never done a 1RM, but I've done a triple at 250.
250, jeez.
Yeah.
Mate, you are a strong, strong human. How good. Mate, sounds like my scores. Okay, does he remind people about the offload against France in 215? What was this one? You haven't reminded me about it. What was it? Unbelievable, out the back.
Yeah, we razzle dazzle out the back door. But in fairness, I don't really remind anyone about it, but I get reminded about it a little bit.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, mate, I have to find that clip. Sounds like a glorious play.
It was a wee
set up a try.
Yeah, to TKB.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Best player of your career in the loose. Obviously, you probably got scrummaging highlights, but
Geez, it probably would be, right up there.
we got a nice runaway against Wales. I know in that game you weren't too keen to play, but then you ended up loving it. Was that about 25 metres out? You've shone a clean pair of heels.
Oh, I thought it was closer to 40 metres, but it was probably roughly something like that, yeah.
Was that your favourite try or your best try? You've actually got, 5 tries in the All Blacks? And I know a lot of props who have got none for a long, long time. I think Owie might be one of those.
Yeah.
How have you scored so many tries?
Good
strike rate.
Probably just just being a seagull, just hanging out until they get close to the white line and then trying to have a sniff. Nah, I hate seeing props that do that. Just a bit of luck, really.
Yeah.
I've scored a couple of lucky ones where I've been put on a wee hole or something like that. And then there's your grafting, wee pick and goes and bits and pieces. I've a couple of nice lines, but
mate, you have to have 5 tries. It's a good stat. Okay, how often do you get confused with Tom Walsh?
Unfortunately, more often than I'd like to admit. Throughout my whole career, it's I've always been Owen Franks. No, mate, not me. But yeah, the Tom Walsh thing has come up quite a few times as well. Unfortunately.
You do look like him though, eh? I saw him at the supermarket the other day, and for a second I genuinely thought it was you from about I think I was at about a 5 o'clock angle, and mate, I genuinely thought it was you.
See, whenever I get mistaken for anyone, I'd just like to say to them, I'm way better looking than that person. But yeah.
Have you done shot put?
I did do a little bit at high school, to be honest. Never went any further than just going to the inter-schools comps and that. But
Mate, I could imagine you two both competing like absolute twins, just going at it.
See, that's another great sport, though. You don't have to worry about too much cardio.
Yeah.
Just get that power base going.
A walk to the circle, and you're away. Okay, next one. Tips for young props to perfect their craft.
Oh, I guess the biggest tips I could probably give you would be sort out your own setup first. Even if that's just doing your setup, practicing your setup in the mirror, getting all that right. I guess the biggest key to help you out while you're sort of learning and just developing yourself would be big chest and straight back, because as soon as you start bending your back, you lose all your power. It doesn't matter how strong you are through your legs or whatever. You can't put that power through if you're bending in the back and whatnot. And so just keep your chest out and back straight.
Scrum coach career, or you're going to be wasted on the farm coaching the cows how to scrum?
Nah, definitely not. I couldn't see myself coaching after footy, to be fair.
Nah,
unless it's some, maybe I have a few little young fellas running around or something and coach a bit of junior footy or something like that. But
fair enough. Okay, what kind of prep do you do on an opposition? Key differences between scrummaging a 6'4" prop and a 5'9" prop.
To be honest, I suppose that's you've put it well in the question. It changes a lot in how you're going to try and attack that tall guy and their setup and everything versus how the shorter guy is going to set up and everything. But at the same time, it's hard to kind of explain because if they both set up the same way, you're going to attack them the same way, if you know what I mean. But generally speaking, the taller guys and the shorter guys will, bring a foot back at different stages, or if they move both feet to get themselves in the right spot, that's when you can apply the pressure on binds and that sort of thing, or trying to give a bit more of a chase after the hit to cramp them up so that they can't get into their long, strong positions. I guess there's a couple of the key sort of ways to look at things there.
Shit, there's a bit to it, and I know you're just scraping the surface, not trying to get too technical. But
yeah, exactly. It's just you kind of have to look at a clip and go over something like that with them if they want to get really technical into things like that. But,
yeah. So there's no one's harder to scrummage with their height. Shorter guys aren't harder to scrummage than taller guys. It's just how they set up.
Basically, yeah. Sometimes I prefer scrummaging the shorter guys because I can get a longer bind with them right back up onto their shorts and that rather than just in the middle of the back with a taller guy sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it's both have got pros and cons for scrumming against them.
Yeah, who's the hardest person to scrum against? That's another question here.
Honestly, I've kind of always felt like my good mate heaps, he's been one of the best tight head scrummaging props that I've sort of ever had to scrum against. So I'd have to say heaps.
What's he do so well? Good setup, just so strong.
He's got a huge, thick chest, which he knows how to use on top of a loose head. Chest and shoulders. He squeezes it down on the back of your neck, and he's not trying to collapse it like some tight heads think they just need to hit the ground sort of thing. But he just puts that pressure on you to hold you down and hold you in the spot where he wants, and he never gives you an opening to sort of tuck in and slide underneath him or anything. So he's just a very, very tough tight head to scrum against, and he's also got a bit of power to back it up as well. And yeah.
Mate, fascinating. Loving it. Loving the scrum chat. Okay. Tell us a story of when you got caught handing out candy to young girls.
Can you tell me who's given that question?
My neighbour, maybe.
Oh, yeah. So I was living in a wee subdivision, and my neighbour across the road, he's a good fella. He worked for Mars Bars, and he always used to hook me up with a wee stash of chocolate and that from time to time. And I just walked over the road to pick up my wee collection from him, and as I was walking back across the road, these two young girls were riding past me on their scooters. I don't know how old they were, maybe like 10, 11 sort of thing. And I just said, "Hey girls, do you guys want some chocolate?" Because he'd given me a stack of 10 slabs of chocolate sort of thing.
You can have that in the off season again.
Yeah. And they stopped and they kind of looked at me like, "What? Are you serious?" And then one of them said, "What do we have to do for it?" I was like, "Nah." That shook me actually when she said, "What do we have to do for it?" I was like, "Nah."
Yeah.
Do you just want some chocolate? I'm like, "Oh, yeah, okay." So I gave them each a block of chocolate each, and just walked inside and thought nothing more of it, and that was that. And then later on, I was on the community Facebook page, and it was blowing up. They'd gone home, told their mum and whatever. And then the mum had posted on the Facebook page, "There's some creep out there handing out chocolate to young girls and whatnot." And everyone was like, "Oh, that's sicko," whatever.
Did they describe him?
They did describe him, actually. They said, late 20s, which I was pumped with. And yeah.
No way that's how they described you, late 20s.
And anyways, I privately messaged the mum and I told her it was me and, what had happened, a bit of the backstory with the guy across the road and everything. So, she was all good about it, and then sort of posted back on the page, just, telling everyone to put their knives away and the pitchforks away. Like, we're not going for a hunt for some creep that's trying to lure in young girls, but yeah.
Oh, sure, that's good.
Yeah.
Oh, what a yarn. Okay, next one. Tell us your secret to making the perfect bacon and egg pie.
Oh, I like to do a bacon and egg pie. I like to go big when I do it. So,
big size.
Yeah. So I'll have a 30 tray of eggs.
Far out. It's expensive now.
Yeah. Roughly 800 grams of bacon.
Mm.
I like to chop up some onion in there.
Yeah.
and plenty of cheese actually as well.
Oh,
Yeah. So I
all
think
right.
cheese is the key.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's pretty much the rest. Oh, a wee
There's a
splash of
secret.
milk. You have to put a splash of
I
milk
was
in with the
gonna
egg
say
mix.
there's a secret somewhere.
So I know
Do you
some.
beat the egg?
Yeah, I
Oh,
beat
you
the egg.
do?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I know some people leave them, so you've got whole yolks and everything, but nah, that's not me with my bacon egg pie.
Yeah.
I
So
like
you
to.
beat the egg with a bit of milk,
Yeah,
heap of bacon, bit of onion,
yeah, and a lot of cheese.
and a lot of cheese.
Yeah.
Far out. I like it.
Yeah, I've heard different methods, with spaghetti on the base and that sort of thing.
Oh,
But
that's not you.
nah, not me.
Nah.
Yeah,
The Joe Moody pie.
yeah.
Okay, I like it. I have to try it. Okay, next one. What age did you start giving zero fucks about what people think?
That's probably been one of the keys to my success, to be fair, not caring what others have thought. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess when I was younger, I suppose I did care a little bit.
Yeah.
But then it was probably, I don't know, those early 20s, and I just started thinking, yeah,
No point.
yeah, exactly. Why care and worry about what other people are thinking, as long as, whatever I'm doing is not harming others around me and I'm enjoying myself. It's,
Yeah.
who gives a shit?
Was it easy to do? Because I think a lot of people try and do it, but not many people do. But you look like you just give zeros.
Yeah, yeah. I think for me it was relatively easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I'm a special breed or something. I'm not too sure, because I know, like what you said, for a lot of people it can be easier said than done.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me personally, yeah, it just sort of comes easily.
Yeah, mate, I love it. I love that part of you. Okay, last one. Best piece of advice for a Woodlad listener.
Do what you love, and it comes back to giving zero fucks. If it comes down to anyone else, what they think you should do, and it's not for you, fuck them.
Mate, what a way to finish. One of the great podcasts, mate. It's been awesome going through your journey. Crazy story how it's all happened and some of the setbacks and the whole overall journey. But it's awesome to see you where you're at now. Even got an exclusive from you that next year this could be your last year. So that's going to shock the nation and shock a few people around here. But really appreciate you giving up your time, mate. You've been awesome to work with last year, and looking forward to what's ahead for you this year. Hopefully if you do finish this year, you go out in style with what you deserve, and look forward to seeing you at your farm in a few years' time.
Sounds good, mate. Thanks for having me on.
You're a lad.